So hey guys, today I'm going to be reviewing the Black Widow movie that came out today, pretty much, and just saying, gonna give you my official thoughts on the story, characters, action, soundtrack, and the ending. So let's get started. So, but just saying, overall, I enjoyed the movie. Like, I'm not saying it's a good movie, but it's still a definitely really enjoyable, fun, and action-packed movie. So, for the story, this is the part of the movie I think is the weakest. The story, it's all over the place with the Red Guardian, with the Red Room, and the villain is a part of the story. He's pretty bad, and the motivations, um, the entire thing is confusing, and you have to watch it multiple times, at least in my point of view, to understand it. To do with one like that big the person who got her face scraped half off because of Natasha's when she blew up that building. And the story is just all over the place, and it's pretty bad to understand. It's pretty bad, and it's really hard to understand what's going on or what the Red Room even truly is. I had to watch it 3 times to fully understand it, and I still don't 100%. I just understand it way more than the first time. So the story as a whole gets, for me, a 3 out of 10. A really messy story with just bad moments, and it just doesn't make sense. So, to go for the characters, I really enjoyed them for the most part. I thought they were pretty great. So, my favorite character is Black Widow in the movie. She just pretty much undercover, and she trying to find her a new family, and that's pretty much the entire goal of this movie. Just making the main character, Black Widow, find her own family, find her hope again, and that's the thing I really liked about it. She's trying to find her own family, and it's really entertaining to watch her find it and find who she's truly what her true family is. And seeing all of the other characters develop is great. And the movie really went into her character deeply, showing how what she did in her past and how it affected her, and it really showed put the family together at first and tore it apart, and then for the most part brought it back together in the end. But that's for later, like when I talk about the ending. So now for her sister, I thought she was decent, like pretty good. The only negative or bad thing about her sister, there's one bad thing, is that whenever she has a moment to do whenever imagine Natasha just had a state of plan. She's like, bullshit, this sucks. Oh, this is such a fun way to go. She just says random bullshit things, and even if it's moments for character development, you see the expressions on the actor's face, like, okay, yeah, like you can see her changing a bit, understanding with the face expression, but the dialogue she says, like bullshit or yeah, whatever, or stuff like that, it's just all over the place. The dialogue doesn't make sense, but you can still see where her character is going. And at a lot of moments, she does say a good amount of dialogue, and you actually feel for her. Her dad, I really liked. He felt more or less like a normal human being. I don't fully understand how he got the super soldier serum, but I guess he just got it. But he's a fun character. Seeing him grow from, and he was also really funny, and he also grew pretty much, and he grew from knowing that pretty much his daughters had killed so many people. He learned that that's not truly the right thing. You're not defined by your greatness just because, well, you killed thousands of peoples, because that's pretty much the opposite of what greatness even is. So that's a good thing. The only thing is, him becoming this fat from looking so thin in the movie's opening endeavor is just stupid for me. And the mom, for the most part, I thought she was decent. Like, she had a decent enough role, except I just didn't really like the mom. I can stand by that. So the characters get a 7 out of 10 for me. For the most part, good. That's pretty much all. The action, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. It was super fast paced. Um, for the most part, the locations were actually pretty good. They showed a lot of blood compared to most of the MCU movies, where the blood is just normal, like not too much, and it is just really it gives you a decent amount of adrenaline rush, and it puts you on your seat like, oh, how are they going to get through this or stuff. So the action, I was really impressed by. I didn't expect it to be this good. I expected it to be good, but not like amazing or something. So the action really blew me away. But the only bad thing is it's not too memorable, and it's really forgettable in ways. And also, it's just not exciting because it sometimes the CGI for the action, like when they use it, you can see that parts of it are fake, like they're behind a green screen using something, or you can see the camera movement. It's too shaky at times when they're doing the car chase scene into the train station and stuff. So that part is bad, but for the most part, I give it a 9 out of 10 for the action alone. The soundtrack, I personally just didn't like it, like awful soundtrack. The music just didn't fit for my theme of what I thought the characters are. That's a big no go for the movie for me. Not too big, but enough to take a few points away, or a few 0 point something points away, because the soundtrack is pretty much half of a scene. If it has a good soundtrack and the scene, like if you're in an emotional scene and the soundtrack is also good and emotional, then you feel more for the scene. But in this scene, like especially when you see the thing, like when they're training at the beginning as kids, and you see small that music, I just despised it. That's my least favorite music of the thing. The only decent music was close to the ending. I don't remember what it is, but it actually sounded pretty decent and had a pretty decent effect. But that too also had its bad points. Overall, I'm not a fan of the action, so it gets a 1 out of 10. The ending, I thought was like pretty much really good. It wasn't perfect or great. It was great. So it was just it concluded all the arcs. The villain was bad. I can give it that, but it concluded all the arcs of the characters. It made Natasha feel again and feel like like she has a family again, and she's not going to be, oh, I'm a lonely little bastard here or something. You can develop her sister. Finally, just doesn't say too much bad dialogue and actually does some brave stuff, although maintaining a more or less funny attitude. Her mom and her dad had some great interactions, and seeing her dad apologize was great. The whole last act of this movie is pretty much like almost perfect, and yeah, in a way, I really enjoyed it. So overall, the ending and mainly that ending credit scene, I loved it. Pretty much now her sister is gonna go after Hawkeye. Pretty much, even though Hawkeye didn't really kill her, she doesn't know that. So yeah. So overall, the ending of this movie gets um an 8 out of 10. Pretty solid, like really good, but not amazing, amazing. So I really enjoyed this movie for a lot of reasons. Okay, the movie was fun. It kept me on the back of my seat, and I had such a good time watching it. It was it was a great movie. Or it was a pretty great movie. So overall, I'll give the movie a standard 7 out of 10. Not a strong 7, just a 7. Like, a 7 still good for me. Like, it had a lot of issues. Mainly, I was just so disappointed by the villain, and this being a 2-year wait, just I didn't feel like it was worth the wait. And another problem is that it doesn't contribute to the rest of the MCU. Like, you can easily just skip this movie and nothing would happen to you. Like, you would totally be on board. I wish I had a few plot points that contributed to the MCU in the middle and stuff. And it's still a good movie nonetheless. It's just that's one pretty big issue, and also the villain is awful. So for final thoughts, this movie is great. I really enjoyed Scarlett Johansson's Natasha Romanoff, aka Black Widow. Her developing from losing her only family to getting a new one was a great character arc, and it didn't feel rushed or served. Um, a few of her sister was also great, except you can notice that she is changing. It's just that her dialogue is bad. Like I can say that in my opinion, but she did make me laugh a lot of times, and the humor in this movie is great. I can give it that. It has really funny moments, and I really yeah, this is good humor. And it also, because I'm one person who loves comedians and comedy and funny level, that's one reason I really enjoyed Spider-Man 3, even though I do enjoy it less than I did before. It's just mainly because that movie is hilarious, period. But still, this movie has some great humor. Every single character develops in a way, even if it's annoying, even if it feels forced, it's still a development that feels real and fun. And like, not fun, but and good in a way. But the main thing that made this thing get a 7 out of 10 for me, it would have been like a 6.5 or a 6.7 or something like that. I still like the movie. It's just the main thing is it wasn't a feminist movie. Not like, okay, we're just gonna. I was like in a real mood. Like, okay, yeah, this is. Hopefully, it's not a feminist movie, but it's probably gonna be. Because the trailers didn't look too promising, but it wasn't. It's not like this. Oh, the main character is good because she's a girl. She has no weaknesses. And you know what? Every other character may be decent, but it's gonna be a step down from her. No, I feel like every character felt real, felt human, felt just as equal as the main character, and at moments, like much better. And the movie gave her a good heart. Every character in ours, you felt like one of the villains. I think it was this one right here. You actually felt the pain that she was going through to becoming this villain, and seeing Natasha's pain for that one thing she did, and seeing her that in an entire past she was a forced killer, and she has to deal with that. Is also a great, great character arc that I really enjoyed. That's another part of her character arc. So overall, my final thoughts are good Marvel movie. That's period. It's a good movie, not a feminist, just a plain out movie I can enjoy. Say it's good and it's just funny too. So overall, this movie gets a 7 out of 10 and it's worth the watch. I can give you that. It's worth the watch and it wasn't fully worth the wait for me still, but it's worth the watch and it's really enjoyable.